Right, I'd like to start this video off with a bit of a thought experiment. Close your eyes for a second and try to imagine you're blind. Now, I know you know what Braille is. Don't lie. But for pacing reasons, it's that writing system that gives blind people the gift of literacy, assuming they can find the sign. Now, of course, I never had much reason to learn it as a formerly diagnosed sight boy, unless I wanted to know what it felt like to be a phonograph again. So I always made the assumption it's basically the alphabet, but dotty, right? And while that is technically true, you could just spell things out in Braille this way, and if you use an online translator, it's probably just doing this. In reality, it doesn't really work like that. For example, take a look at the sentence, didn't use Elev in fire, which is a real example I found while burning to death. Or if you take a look at not my apartment number, you'll see that it has 3 numbers but 4 characters? Letters? Point is, the blind have been doing something while we weren't looking, either. Not to fret, my dear analytic, I'm here to guide you through it like a lazy river laced with speed. I know Braille might look complicated on the surface, but don't worry, once you get a feel for it, you can learn it with your eyes closed. So let's start off easy with something you're familiar with. Braille, too, is a subject of ethnic conflict. These people may not see race, but they can still hear the British. Now, as a professional fence sitter, I'm going to be talking about Unified English Braille, which is an attempt to unify the two systems. Thankfully, differences between all the versions of English Braille seem mostly minor, so as far as I'm aware, this video should be generally applicable to anything you encounter. Especially since I'm going to be keeping things as basic as possible because the guide I'm reading is 400 pages long. If I could compress everything down into a script for you, I'd break through the Schwarzschild radius. Okay, so the thing is, every cell, they're called cells by the way, every cell is a 2x3 set of dots that can be raised or flat, which gives us a total of 64 combinations to play with. Well, 63, one of them is nothing. While 63 is a lot, it also isn't. Reminder, we're not using these dots to spell, but to write out the entirety of English. If we already used a unique symbol for uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and numbers, we would be left with fuck. I had a joke here that this would be like running English on assembly code, but that's not even enough for that. Also, I'm trying to keep this channel's property value up, and with some of the references I've made, I cannot make another blunder like that. Point is, Braille has to pull off a bit of trickery. Remember this apartment I've never seen before in my life? This symbol up front is used to tell you when you're reading a number, as all the digits in Braille are, surprise, actually just the first 10 letters reused to save on space. We pulled the same trick with uppercase letters, with this thing used to tell you when the next letter is capitalized. 2 of them together can capitalize a whole word, and 3 of them together capitalize until we get bored. Doing this has already saved us on a whopping 35 cells. So, what is Braille doing with all the free real estate? Well, you might be thinking... Sorry, just had to make sure. You might be thinking that this looks like it would take up a lot of space. This is actually because it would take up a lot of space. We're kind of stuck at a single size here. So, yeah, earlier when we freed up all those symbols doing the number wang, yeah, almost all of them are used not for punctuation, but for any vaguely common letter group. In other words, CH and SH finally get their own letters, along with stuff like ED, ING, TH, ETC. You spell with them just like normal. So from a blind person's POV, 3 is now 4 and 4 is now 3. 5 is still 4, 1 is... I'll get to it, and Team Fortress 2 is still a 10. Oh, fuck. And 6 of these letter groups are particularly interesting though, as these groups happen to spell out entire words. With the, in, for, of, and, well, technically 7, I guess there's also... If all this is starting to remind you of Chinese writing, like finding a horse head in your bed, don't worry, it's not actually that. Now, I think this is going to be a point of confusion, so I'm going to address it here. These aren't actually words, they're just letters that happen to spell words. So if we had a word like, oh, I don't know, foreshadowing, it would be totally fair game to spell it out with an FOR cell just like any other letter. Now, that's already very cool. If that were everything, this would have been a short form. Unfortunately, a picture is worth 1,000 words. We have a lot more catching up to do. See, because shortening words down really is that important, Braille is frankly obsessed with abbreviating words down in any way they can get away with. What do I mean by this? Well, like, the word Braille is 7 letters long, but when written in Braille, it is simply shortened to BRL, which is merely 1, 2, 3, shorter. This leaves us with some wonderful spellings such as herf, dickel, ul, and gert. But hey, if that's still too much work for you, why bother spelling it all? As in, just for you, you will rather like the knowledge that every word I have above me can be written down with a single cell. These are broadly intuitive, like D stands for do, N is for not, X is for it. My favorite is how BBBB. Unfortunately, English has more than 26 words, so because turning the alphabet into a library clearly wasn't enough, Braille has 6 more cells dedicated to making more of them. They work like the number sign. W on its own means will, but .w can make that into work. .w can make that into word, and .w is what I use to access the evil internet. Actually, no, sorry, I did kinda lie to you. Just a ol. Only these 3 on top are used for making more words. The 3 on the bottom are only there to shorten endings to words. So like ation or s. They're only there to spell with. Wait a minute though, if we can spell with these, does that mean we can... Yeah, okay, so this is going to be undeniably the coolest part of Braille. So in my elevator, the built-in phone is labeled ph.o, which means ph and the short form for one, as in the word. Well, it's a number, but yeah, just like we can spell with the FOR cell, we can spell with these abbreviations. So something like greatsword is now shortened to simply Gert S word. That's really cool, actually. What's the catch? Yeah, there's a lot of limitations we have to follow to make sure that ambiguity doesn't become an issue. For example, we're not allowed to spell using these single letter abbreviations because, obviously. But some other words give us grief too. There's a lot of specific rules in place, but generally whatever causes ambiguity is an issue. For example, the word blind in Braille is BL. BL appears in a lot of words, so if it is ever followed up by a vowel, we're told that we're not allowed to use it because it gets too confusing. Could this word be black or blindac? We have no way of knowing. In general, if a word appears wholly intact and can be cleanly separated from the word it's in, it's kosher. The guidebook has a whole list of acceptable short forms, so don't worry, himbo is safe. However, you can't do something like use the short form for declare to write out declaring, as that would be literally spelling out declare-ing. There's more stuff to talk about, but this is probably enough. I know you're only going to use this to read signs off to your friends in your free time, which is a mission statement. I've made peace with it. Even so, I wish this video was even a little bit helpful in helping you understand what it's like to be blindsided. Hey, wait a minute, don't you mean blind?